Hi, Bob Hot Rod Rohr from Coluffy. I'm going to go into hydraulic separation. Hydraulic separation, a lot of syllables in that word. It's usually referred to as a hydro separator, much easier to say. And it's also referred to as a low loss header sometimes a decoupler. Different manufacturers call them different things. And I'm going to explain how they work and what the benefit of them is. Probably the best way to do that is that I brought a cutaway along with me here. So this is the Coluffy hydro separator. And basically what a hydro separator does is it's separating the primary from the secondary side. Think of it as a primary, secondary, closely spaced T's here and closely spaced T's here. So what's going to happen with this, let's assume that your source side is over here. You're going to have boilers over here. It could be a chilled water application also. You might have a chiller over here, a boiler over here. You might have multiple boilers over here. So each one of those sources is going to have their own pump, and the pump's going to be sized so it overcomes the pressure drop in that device. So let's say you've got two boilers over on this side. Let's go over to this side now. This is your distribution side of the hydro separator. And over here, you're going to, let's call it, a couple multiple radiant zones are coming off this side. Let's say everyone's got a different size pump. The pump requirement, of course, to meet the load of that circuit. So the goal of the hydro separator now is to separate the flows so that they don't conflict with one another. So if one pump's running over here on the source sides or two pumps are running over here on the source side, it's never going to induce flow on these ports on the load side, and vice versa. If there's a condition where some of the load pumps, or some of the pumps on this side, the load pumps going to your heating or chilled water circuits are running, it's not going to induce flow into the chillers or into the boilers. All right? What I'd like you to do is get a copy of Coluffy Hydronics #1, and we talk a lot about hydraulic separation. We've got some great graphics in there that kind of show some colored diagrams of what's going on in there, and that'll help you understand it a little bit better. Now, we did put a couple more features in here. We enhanced this a little bit more. And we've got up here this little, in the cutaway, you can see it's a little sharp metal device, and that's called a flow straightener. And it actually serves two purposes. It ensures that when the flow comes in through here that you don't get turbulence, that it can bypass and go down and make its circuit back here. But also by making it with sharp edges like that, it's going to do a lot of air removal for us. So the bubbles coming through there are going to cling to those sharp surfaces like it does in an air separator. And of course it'll go up into the vent. We give you a vent on the top here, also a check valve on it. So that's going to give it air removal on the device. On the bottom end here, we're going to give you a ball valve with a hose connection on it that you can flush any dirt and debris, because it's going to act as, you can see how we've extended the bottom of this a little bit, the barrel on the bottom of it. So any dirt and debris or weld slag that might have been left in there is going to settle to the bottom, and then you can blow it out here. One last thing that we give you on this here is this port, and it's been drilled for a display unit, but that's a temperature port, so you can screw that out, and we've got a temperature well that screws into there. It's a dry well, and now you can stick a sensor. A lot of installers like to trigger their boiler or their chiller from a sensor that's going right into that water, because that's a good sampling point for what's going on in your system right there. It's central to the separator, so it's going to read accurately on what flow temperature is going through there. So that's been used a lot of times to put a sensor well. A lot of guys too can take that out and put a temperature pressure gauge there. So now you know the temperature that's going through your separator as well as the pressure in your system. Put a rear mount pressure temperature gauge, which Coluffy offers also. So that's the basics of what it does for you, how it works. Also, like a lot of the Coluffy components, we offer a nice insulation clamshell jacket for it that you put on. It has a little sticky tape on the back. Peel that off and it sticks on there, so you can insulate that. What I'd like to do next is take you back and show you one of these in action here in our mechanical room. I'm here by a hydro separator that we have installed in our building in Milwaukee. This happens to be a 2.5 inch. You can see they've taken and put in sweat companion flanges to connect into this. So on this side here, I don't know how many of the labels you can see, but this is where the boilers, we've got actually 4 boilers connected to the supply side of this. We've got condensing boilers, so we operate them, modulate them at different temperatures. So 4 boilers, 4 different pumps over there, and they can flow through here without conflicting with one another on the boiler side. And then over here on the distribution side, we've got a whole series of pumps on this wall. We've got air handlers, we've got radiant zones, we've got panel radiators, and the same thing, when these pumps over here are running, regardless how many pumps kick on and off, it's not going to induce any flow into our boiler side circuit. So that's what one looks like installed. We've geared it up with a lot of sensors just so we can keep an eye on what's going on in the system. That's why you see so much piping around here. But it's a pretty nice, clean installation, and it does a good job with our building, and I know it'll do a good job for you too. But I want to show you one more thing, and that's the HydroCal product. So let's go back up to the table and take a look at that. So that was the hydro separator product. Now let me show you a 3-in-1 product that we call the HydroCal. This is a really innovative product from KABI. And what we wanted to do with this product here is make an enhanced air and dirt removal component of it. So now with one device, less cost, gives you 3-in-1 performance instead of separate air separator, separate dirt separator, and hydraulic separator. This is 3 components in one, so it really makes it cost effective. And let me show you the secret to the way this works is inside there we've had this stainless steel mesh that goes full length from top to bottom. So instead of just depending on the flow straightener that you saw in the hydro separator, we give you more mesh in there, more sharp surface areas to collect the air and the dirt. And I'm going to try and turn this here carefully and see if you can take a look inside there. And you can see what I mean about the mesh now is at the top port and it's also at the bottom port. So it does a great job of getting the air and dirt as well as the hydraulic separation component. In fact, I might just leave that there. Now we've got some accessories that come with this, which is nice. On the bottom, we give you a nice big full port ball valve so you can flush the dirt out of it. A lot of flow coming out of that baby. That comes with it, nice quality ball valve. On the top, if you can see there, we give you a ball valve on the top, 3/4 threaded ball valve. We'll give you a brass nipple that screws into that ball valve. I'm not going to put it on there so it doesn't tip over and kill me. And there's our high capacity air vent that goes on the top of it. So now you've got great air removal, high capacity air removal, dirt separation, and as well as the hydraulic separation. It's a true 3-in-1 device, one of the nicest products on the market from KABI.